Most people see the images. A few understand the effort behind them. But very rarely do we get to hear the journey behind the person who creates them, isn't it? Today's conversation is with someone I've known for over 2 decades. A friend, a fellow traveler, photographer, filmmaker, someone whose journey has constantly evolved with time. From working a corporate job at Yahoo to becoming a naturalist, to picking up the camera seriously after winning a major recognition, and then going on to work with some of the biggest platforms in the world like BBC, Nat Geo, Discovery, Disney, and so on. He's someone who hasn't just stayed relevant, but has kept reinventing himself. This is not just a conversation about wildlife photography or filmmaking. It's about choices, risks, failures, reinvention, and what it really takes to stay the course. I'm really looking forward to this one. Let's get into it with Kalyan Varma. So Kalyan, thank you so much for taking time out in between your shoots and all of that. Thank you for making this possible.
It's lovely to catch up, Jayant. It's been so long since we've caught up, actually.
I think I last met you in 24. I don't know how last.
Yeah, we met up at my place. No, he had come for I think Rohit's birthday party. Yeah.
That's correct. So how do I start this? So I don't know how many of our common friends, apart from them, how many of them know that probably we both were born in the same year. You're Feb, right?
Jan.
80. I'm May 80 and we're just a few months apart.
But so I'm senior to you by 5 months.
5 months, of course. And not just that, in many ways. So
no, please.
You were even senior to me in career because you picked up photography a little earlier than me, and that's why I want people to come to this backstory of our lives. I remember in 2004 and 5, we were hanging around platforms like India Nature Pics, the Yahoo group. Interestingly, you were a Yahoo employee back then, I'm assuming. And then turns out that you started traveling to the jungle, and I just want to hear from your own perspective. How did you get into the wilderness? How did wildlife happen to you? When did you start going out? Who was the influence? I would love to know a little bit about you. But before that, I want to tell people that it's been 20 years of knowing you.
I know, it's been
being a friend. And,
more than 20 years, actually.
More than 21, 22 approximately.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were... I think I first time met you in BR Hills when you were a regular, but I want to hear from your own, words about how it all started for you, please.
So, I mean, I think in some sense, Jan, it's like all our journeys have been together, right?
Right.
So, I think inherently everybody loves nature, wildlife.
Right.
And I think all of us coming from middle class family, we just didn't have access to it. And I still remember every few years, you knew some DFO who would book a guest house somewhere and you go with something.
Right.
That was, at least before I was 20, that was my trips to, like I think I've been a couple of times to Ranthambore, not Ranthambore, Nagarole, Bandipur and all that.
Right.
When I started working, in fact, actually, frankly, it was not nature first, it was photography first.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So with my first salary, I bought a camera and film camera, Nikon FM
10.
No, 80 FM 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think. And I just did all kind of photography. I did street photography, studio, food, everything.
I see.
And as part of that, I'm like, okay, weekend free, and the good thing we are privileged of being in Bangalore is that, but you know, we have these national parks which are weekend away.
Right.
So Bandipur, all these places we just start going.
Right.
So that's how it started. And when I started photographing, I realized wildlife was something I'd really enjoyed. Just being in the wilderness, photographing wildlife.
Sure.
And frankly, I have to give credit to a dear friend, close friend of both of us, Harsha.
Of course.
Because I went to Bandipur and I met Harsha there. He was a naturalist there, and then and like everybody who starts off in wildlife, I was only interested in tigers, elephants, you know, nothing else beyond that. And then he showed me this paradise like Ash, and he said, you know, look at that tail, and you know, so that's how I really got smitten by wildlife photography.
Right.
Yeah, so that's really so it was photography first, wildlife later.
Interesting.
And it accumulated into wildlife photography together.
Awesome. It's a little different to me because, you know, for me, photography was always at home. My father is a photographer, studio, and all of that. And then eventually I didn't even have an interest in it. And when I started developing interest in wildlife, then I realized, oh, let me take
So yours also the same then?
Yeah.
So photography first and nature second.
It's just that I wasn't thinking like a photographer or interested in that, but interesting. So, and what's common between us, not just in our background, is also Harsha. Because, you know, for me, I went to Kabini in 2005 or something when he was working there as a naturalist. And Harsha...
He's in Bandipur then, I think.
Howda? Maybe just when he went to Kapila, I started going
there. I was in Kapila, for a bit.
And Vikram Nanjappa and Harsha J were there. And then I went there alone. And I've stayed there for the whole day. And I remember Yatin asking me, why are you staying for 1 week and losing so much money or investing so much money? You could have bought another lens. I remember back in the days in India Nature Pics and all of that. So, when did you decide that, okay, I have, you were probably 4 or 5 years into IT, assuming we both are of the same age. So, you would...
So I worked exactly 3 years.
Okay.
3 years in Yahoo.
I see. You decided to take a break from corporate and then became a naturalist in JLR or something like that, right?
So it was a funny situation, they call it situationship, I think, these days. Or whatever.
Are you in one?
Work-wise. So I worked for 3 years and basically I was heading security at Yahoo with the R&D division.
Oh, I see.
And at some point I realized that this remote thing was not working.
Right.
So Yahoo India, they became a outsourcing thing and all the research thing went back to the US. So all the early employees, the first 50 odd employees,
right.
They were given, I don't know, whatever we say, H1B or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
So they all shifted to the US.
Okay.
So they offered me the same job. I said, I'm not ready to go to the US. So I said, I want to stick to India. So then they gave me a managerial job, like looking after some 20 people. And I'm like, I can't manage myself. I can't look after 20 people. So I said, okay, it's not working out. So basically, it was a dead end for me, and I said, okay, let me take a break. I had a very hectic 3 years.
Right.
And by then, I started kind of new wildlife photographers and all that stuff.
Right.
And it was a very interesting story, actually.
Oh, that?
I went to jungle lodges. And for viewers here must know that in Karnataka, every resort is run by jungle lodges.
Correct.
I said, boss, I want to stay for a month.
Okay.
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡಿಸ್ಕೌಂಟ್ ಕೊಡಿ. And that time Vinay Luthra was MD and Sharath was the naturalist. He said, you know what? Why don't you just work as a naturalist? You know, we'll give you a room. You can stay and you can go on safaris, do your photography.
Right.
But with the guests, just kind of show, like tell them of the birds and all that. We'll do it. I said, that's great. Let's do it.
2005 is it?
So I still this is etched in my memory. Literally Jan 1st, now like the 31st Jan of 2020, it was 2004. I partied all night. And early morning I woke up in my Maruti 800. I drove to BR Hills.
White one.
Yeah, white one, exactly. I drove to BR Hills to join as naturalist. And I wanted Kabini or Bandipur because I didn't even know what BR Hills was. Like I've just heard of it.
Of course.
So, but looking back, that was such a great decision because BR is such a less known park and you could do whatever you wanted.
Of course.
Before the tiger
the tourists started coming.
Yeah, before it was tiger reserve, you could go in the night and all this stuff.
Right.
So my journey started, like initially I agreed for a 1 month stint.
Okay.
But eventually after 1 month I said, okay, I'm not leaving this. It became almost a year, like 8-9 months I had done it.
I know.
So that was my
first.
Yeah, at least professionally, right? I quit my job and did this. I still thought that I was going to come back, join some other IT company and all that, but never happened. Yeah.
I'm glad it never happened. I still remember vivid visuals of Kalyan Varma, this cute young guy with a 7200 on a Nikon D70s.
Actually, no, I didn't have 7200.
Oh, yeah.
That's the story I have to tell you.
Ah,
So here's the interesting bit.
ah.
So me and Yatin, a lot of you might know Yatin.
Of course.
He is not very active on social media.
Mm,
But we started together, we used to explore together. So I said, okay, let's buy Nikon cameras.
mm.
And we would share lenses like,
Right.
wide angle, zoom, whatever.
Right.
At a very cheap,
Mm.
I think it was what was called
300.
7300, very cheap lens, like it was like some 5000.
Oh, okay. G lens. That's the G lens.
Yeah, under 10,000 bucks.
I know.
Like very cheap, yeah. I mean, it was not great at all. I just used to have it. And the only investment I had made was Sigma 105mm macro.
I remember that also. Your macro lens.
So my first Tiger, I shot with a macro lens.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, macro, of course, you can still shoot it as a
Of course,
whatever.
if it's close by, yeah.
No, you can still focus on something that was far away. So
away,
my first Tiger, like I didn't have a lens.
This is BRLs, is it?
BRLs, yeah.
Ah, okay. I remember.
But what I think there's probably if there's one image that changed my life was in BR Hills.
Jumping
I
ants.
photographed these jumping ants
Correct.
fighting each
How
other
can we forget that?
because it was primarily macro because
Right.
the quality of my zoom lens was not great.
Great.
And with photography, when you're starting out, it's an investment in lenses, right?
Right.
So I'm not ready to invest on long lenses.
Right.
I'd photographed that, and few months later in 2005, I mean, I saw Sanctuary Photography Awards over there. That was the only
Right.
one back then.
Of course.
And I submitted, and who knew it won?
Absolutely.
And of course, so there were two things with that award. One thing, it gave me a confidence that hey, this is something that I can actually pursue professionally.
Right.
Like it's a pat on the back,
Right.
externally.
Of
But
course.
the prize money was 50,000.
Awesome.
And 20 years ago, 50,000 was like
Quite a lot of money.
And I put another 20,000. I think I bought the 7200 lens,
Sure.
f2.8.
Sure.
So that really, I mean, I must thank Bittu and Sanctuary for really kind of.
Yeah, of course. You know what? I'm just thinking. See, Yahoo, I was with AOL.
AOL, no? Yeah.
My last IT job was with AOL, America Online, which went offline.
Both these companies don't exist.
Exactly, they both went offline. And Sanctuary Award, that was my story as well. And then
You're the first one, the elephant, no?
yeah, my
judging,
elephant charge. And the same lens you were talking about, the 7300 ED, I used the same. Harsha was with me in the boat in Kabini on the same trip. When we
that was a charge from the boat.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
We were actually, now that we were talking about Tiger Ramesh before we started, I was with Harsha on Tiger Ramesh's private boat because I was the only guest. They didn't want to take that
this
big
fancy boat, no? Yeah, there's like a radar scanner where you can watch the fish and all that stuff.
Yeah, so me, Harsha.
Tiger Ramesh, if you're watching this, I want that boat back.
Yeah, and the boatman was Baira, and me and Harsha.
Baira, I know him, yeah, of course.
Only two of us, and we would spend so much time. Nani and Martindra, I would keep my tripod. I would put the tripod on the ground when the boat is on the edge of the river and take pictures of tigers. I mean elephants.
Okay.
And I don't know if you remember, Avaga, just after that, Indu started working with with Sarai, now back then Sikada, before that Kapila. And there was a board in Kabini's dining hall which they had branded. It said, in the summer in Kabini you will not see a single elephant. And full stop. Next line, you will see hundreds.
Nice one.
That was my beginning of wildlife photography seriously and all of that. Anyway, great. So 105 Sigma macro lens. I remember, Kalyan, I also know the backstory of your jumping ants image. I don't want to tell it from my perspective. Why don't you tell people how close it was to the rooms and the tents in BRLs and how you made that image?
Actually, it was quite a complicated image, to be honest, So because before I got into wildlife, I was doing studio photography.
Oh, okay.
I bought one of these
twin flashes.
No. So, I mean, of course I had flash, but I had the studio lights.
Okay.
That slides with a soft box in front of it, and you connected it to the
diffuser
flash thing, and it would trigger the same time.
Of course.
So the good thing about that was that you could shoot at like f18, f20.
Of course.
Blur. I mean, whatever, crisp photos. So because I was staying there, since I had it, I just took it there. And maybe it's not accepted in today's term ethically.
Right.
But I used to take things, whatever insects I used to catch, into my room because the flash was plugged into the power socket.
Oh,
and all
interesting.
That. I couldn't do quite in the field. I mean, now you get these nice diffusers and all that, but I didn't have all that.
Right.
So I found these two jumping as fighting, and I picked up on a leaf. I picked them up. I mean, my room was basically 50 meters away, so I just quickly got to the room and started photographing.
Right.
I mean, they were like kind of hanging out together, and frankly, I took like probably a couple of, I don't know, 40, 50 images. I mean, back then our cameras couldn't do 30 frames per second and all that.
Of course.
But when I was going through, I don't know, whatever software was there, clip by clip, I realized that in one particular frame, this worker ant was stabbing the queen, and I didn't know it was the queen. I sent it to a few wildlife scientists whom I knew, and they said that's the queen, and that's a worker ant assassinating the queen.
Wow.
So I'm like, wow, okay, you know, and yeah, that picture really changed my life. One photograph. Yeah.
I have an interesting question now that I remember that picture so vividly. It was a 4x5 crop, right? Or was it?
I think it was 3x2. All cameras used to do 3x2, right?
Sure. I mean, what I meant is you cropped it to a squarish.
Yeah, because I mean, in terms of composition, the action was in the center,
right.
So you could potentially.
But it was also on the cover of Sanctuary that season, I think, right? I mean, apart from winning Sanctuary Award, wasn't it on the cover?
So it's funny that you mentioned this. As artists. We are thinking in aspect ratio.
Right.
So my first 10 years of my career, I used to think in 3x2.
Okay. Horizontal, like
3x2, that's what your DSLR
Sure.
And then, and we'll talk about it, when I got into filmmaking, it became wider, 16:9, because that's how you need to think. And so a tall bird doesn't work out, you know, but
true.
You know, a tiger walking would be great because it's
Of course.
And for God's sake, now I have to learn vertical because that's what Instagram
reels go. Of course.
And you know, I'm shooting everything, thinking in 16:9, and that's you just can't.
Of course.
It's not a post-processing thing. It's the thinking that matters. So aspect ratio is such a big part of how you view the world.
Right.
In some sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Great. So this image changed your life. All we know is, you know, after you won the Sanctuary Award, you probably started taking this more seriously. You realized you can put more effort and it'll give you rewards and all of that. So that's a fantastic story. After that, tell us what happened, because there were a couple of years of you trying out a few things. You started, you know, I also remember you were taking workshops in Koramangala and all of that. You were teaching photography. You started doing tours to, I don't know, for some reason you loved Kanha of all places. I don't know why you were going there regularly. Of course, it's a beautiful park. But you must have some other reason, right? Maybe people, maybe whatever. So give us those 2 years of 2006-07 season when you were experimenting with many things in life.
So the first 3-4 years was a bit a roller coaster ride.
Okay.
Because I knew, okay, fine, I like this and we got recognition, but you still have to earn money.
Right.
and frankly, the BRL stint I could do because I had savings from my Yahoo days and things like that, and eventually I ran out of it.
Right.
So you need to have some livelihood, right?
Sure.
And just wasn't sure what's the way. And I had this very naive idea that, okay, I'll do consulting.
Okay.
IT consulting.
I see.
And do this. But I started private limited and all that shit. But so that was a very naive idea. Okay, 2 days a week I can do consulting. Rest of the days I can be in the forest. But no, it doesn't work like that. You know?
Of course.
So I did a bit of that. Then I realized photography. I mean, all of us know 20 years ago, even today, nobody makes money by selling your pictures. Yeah.
True.
So you need to earn money by.
But did you know this, or did you try and figure this is not possible?
So frankly, it was a bit weird for me because I came from an open source world. So from day one, I was all about making my pictures free and open source.
Makes
so
sense.
I didn't want to charge for it and all that. And I did make some money.
Of course.
Because
But
people,
not sustainable and not enough to build a life, right?
And people would say, okay, I want a big print in my living room, and I could charge from 20, 30, 40,000, whatever for it. So the easiest way, and this still probably continues till today, was doing workshops in wildlife tours, because people back then didn't know photography, and now these days you can just, if you know how to search on YouTube, you can learn about photography. But back then there was no easy platform.
Sure.
And I think this is something Sudhir and me started back then, which was that all photography courses were like a month long. Every day you had to go for like a evening 2 hours or something. So,
of course.
In weekend, and I think you do this. You
Right.
I mean, in fact, my photography course used to call the same thing.
Art and science of photography.
Right?
I remember.
So the weekend crash course, basically. 2 days you just learn everything about photography, post production, everything and things. So that was good because
it gave income.
But kept you going. And after that, kind of started doing wildlife tours because people didn't know where to work, which place to stay, all that stuff. So
right.
So interesting choice of Kanha was fact that I just had good friends there, and Kanha had more freedom as photographers.
Right.
Bandhavgarh, which is what back then was most popular, was very restricted.
Okay.
Kanha, you could kind of
maybe the tiger pressure was relatively lesser compared to Bandhavgarh, right?
Exactly. And as photographers, you can get the zone you wanted. I mean, I don't know what the zones are now. I've forgotten, but yeah,
it's just the gate.
Yeah.
And we used to do only Kisli, Kanha gate, not Mukti much.
Yeah, exactly. So first 3-4 years was that. Along the same time, I mean, and that's when I met Sandesh as well, Sandesh Kadur. He did the podcast with you, right?
Yeah. On the same road, apparently.
Yeah. So we got together,
2007, I think.
Yeah, late 2006-07. So, and basically I got introduced to the world of filmmaking.
Of course. I remember.
So, but the thing is, filmmaking, you can't make, I mean, this is advice for anybody, first 10 years of wildlife filmmaking, you just want to
build a repute.
Yeah. You might get, even one shoot a year is a big deal.
Of course.
And that shoot might last for a month.
Right.
It's not enough to sustain for the whole year.
Of course.
So, so all that happened. But at some point I realized that, of course, photography is my first love, but filmmaking was
the natural progression.
A media that I like, where it's just not one frame, but combination of frames.
Right.
Using the right music, the right narration, you could do slightly more than a single frame.
Of course.
So, by late, I think 2029, I was pretty clear that filmmaking was the thing,
2009, yeah.
And I mean, you can cut it out in your podcast, but when did we all sit down for Toehold?
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with talking about
I don't want to cut it because it's a part of my journey and all of that. So this is 2009, November, December, your first Africa trip with your Gujarat or Bombay friends.
2008, I think. It was 2008 I had gone, and 2009 we were talking. Yeah.
Correct. So 2009, I remember we used to meet regularly. Before we talk about this, I want to talk to you about what I like about you is you've always been, once you realized your role in this larger ecosystem of wildlife photography, wildlife, all of that, you started partnering with science, savvy people. You started partnering with conservation organizations. You befriended NCF to be probably the most important organization in those days for you. Tell us about that. Why was that something you decided was important for you to do? Why wouldn't you simply go to Bandipur and Kabini and take pictures and put it on a live journal or Orkut back then and then?
A live journal. Wow.
Live journal, I remember yours.
Oh my gosh.
So
the original OG of social media.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about your decision of why you felt you needed a little bit of a scientific perspective to your photography.
See, I started as a hacker and I'm still a hacker. In fact, I have to show you. Last 3 days I've been wipe coding. I've created this platform to go through all my footage, analyze through Claude and all that stuff.
Awesome.
It's amazing.
Awesome.
So I used to.
Once a techie, always a techie.
Always,
Jana make stories of like he quit IT industry. I said, Guru, my life will I cannot quit IT.
Absolutely.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So this hacker mentality, right? And you always want to give back something to what you're doing.
Sure.
So very early on, I think. I mean, of course, monetary thing, but I'm like, So one thing with my photography journey was that I remember back then in mid 2000s, if somebody approached you, I'm not saying you, but a photographer saying that I want this photo, I want to use it in my poster, they'll say, pay me $5,000 or $10,000.
True.
I was very clear about open source, like all my work has to be free.
Right.
So when my work started reaching out publicly and through social media, and when I say social media, the blogging and all that stuff back then, I said, yeah, I mean, and NCF, frankly, it just started with them wanting an interpretation sent in Valparai with Divya Sridhar. And they said, okay, can you give it? I said, no, here's my hard drive, take all the images, So that's how the friendship built.
Of course.
And it was a give and take because one of the things was that as photographers, now it's probably easy because we have enough tools and AI to figure things out. But back then we didn't know enough.
Right.
So even for me to know, like, okay, what species, which is a rare species, where do you find it? Okay, how do I tell a story about a certain landscape or whatever?
Right.
You need to collaborate with these scientists or conservationists and things like that. So it was a very natural fit, and I just somehow gelled with it. It's just because of my knowledge back then, and I used to help with other things, technical, IT stuff and things like that.
Right.
And frankly, Jayant, I mean, we are photographers, but for us, nature comes first, right? We always speak up for nature.
Of course.
And frankly, we are the armchair conservationists because we sit back and make a post on Instagram saying something, but these people are actually
on the field,
boots on the ground, working things, right?
True.
So there was always a natural affinity to collaborate, work with them, and and somehow my ideology just gelled so much with NCF.
Right.
Most of them, Madhu, all these people,
of course.
all this, Aprajita, Charu, all this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's been a great collaboration. Yeah, it's been a great collaboration together, and learned so much from them. And I try to give back by taking visuals and films.
I remember your Valparai workshops, and of course your involvement with NCF and how it was. Also for us, it was like a direction, right? For some of the things that you did were not done by most wildlife photographers. We were in our own shell of sharp image and clarity photo and all of that. And you were bringing out a different perspective of, conservation focused photography and all of that.
Right.
That was amazing. So, talking about what you brought up, many people don't know that we were talking about creating a company which eventually happened. And you were, I remember, Kalyan, you were the first one in all those meetings with me, you and Sudhir and Giri, and we were discussing ideas on how to make a workshops company, tours company, and all of that. Eventually, you became a BBC Earth Explorer, I think, in that year, 2009. And you decided that you would focus on your filming career, and Toehold happened with me and Sudhir and Giri and all of that. So, of course, one thing I felt was, it would have been a killer team if Kalyan was a part of that team. Kalyan, Giri, Sudhir, Jayant, it was already turning out to be a killer team. But,
there's that film, A Team or something. So it was like a bit like that, right? It was A Team, and it clearly made sense for all of us to get together, and I think it made sense. But also, I really think that in this field, Jayant, is that it's the individual's name that matters more than the company.
Of course.
Right? So if 4-5 of us get together, it's better 5 of us have individual brand names than all of us under one single brand name.
Understood.
Right?
Understood.
And like you said, I think by then I think I was very clear that filmmaking was the area that I want to focus on.
Correct.
So yeah.
Awesome. So what happened after that was you got into filmmaking seriously while I started building Toehold. Of course, Sudhir was still employed in IT, and we eventually figured out our own journeys. But tell me about what happened after that. You took a decision to start doing films, and what all projects did you do in those days? This 2009, 10, 11, 12 era. What were I don't remember exactly what happened with you in those years.
Right, sure.
Give us a background, please.
So, to be honest, I could claim that I worked on this BBC project. When I say I claim, I was a camera assistant.
Right. Okay.
And frankly, for the till COVID, I was learning.
Right. Okay.
Filmmaking.
Interesting you say that.
So, initial years it was just obviously. See, the thing is, like now I do my own films, right? And when I send a cameraman out, I only send a cameraman out I trust because I know that person delivers what I need.
Right.
And the same thing was true with BBCs or Discovery, Nat Geo back then. So I was never the primary thing. I was a kind of camera assistant, but there's a primary cameraman who's shooting stuff.
Right.
But while I'm there, I would do some time lapses or stills in the background, or some of these shoots we used to have another camera.
Of course.
Like a smaller, not the main camera, but shoot with that. So initially I was learning, and I think it was 2012 was my real first BBC shoot where I got a photography credit, primary photography credit and things like that.
I see. Was there some Paul guy. I vaguely remember you going to Ranganthittu with somebody like Paul something.
So as a dear friend of mine, Paul Williams.
I remember
Paul,
his name.
if you're watching this is a tribute to you. And frankly, I owe him a lot, you know,
Right.
because because I used to put my pictures up, and back then working with Sandesh and all that, I photographed this purple frog,
Right.
you know, which is
right.
a rare species.
Of course.
And there were no pictures online for it.
Right. Arvikulam.
So I put it on Wiki Commons, and it was on Wikipedia, and BBC was doing a series on amphibians. I think it was called Life in Undergrowth or something.
I see.
And he saw the picture and just cold calling, you know, just emailed
Wow.
me saying that, hey, I saw your picture. Do you know where to find this frog and all that? And amazing to get a mail from somebody in BBC, and we were same age. Paul is pretty much same age.
Oh, I see.
He's a young guy.
I remember his dramatic Ranganthittu crocodile narration.
No. So yeah. So wait. So he reached out, and that shoot finally never happened, you know, for
Okay.
whatever reasons.
Okay.
But we were in touch, and then he said, you know what? He's also quite he's not a tech guy, but understood tech at least.
Understood. Okay.
And frankly, this is before Google Maps. This is before Instagram, Facebook, all these days. So we said, and BBC was exploring this. How do you do this online stuff, like for web only?
Okay.
So so we proposed this thing that saying, okay, this is two guys who go on a trip, and we have this GPS thing where it's a portal where you see a map. Okay, today they are here on Google Maps.
Sure.
And here's a clip from today. They're here, and like this small web. There's no YouTube back then,
Of
but
course.
like it was like short clips and things like
Of
that.
course.
So Paul had come over, another cameraman, and then three of us went on this like a road trip in South India. Yeah, went to Ranganthittu
And I have
Valparai.
very good memory of all these things which are not even related.
I don't
to
know
me.
why you. I know why you remember these things. I forgot about it.
Super. So we were talking about, you know, your initial days in filmmaking. Now you said you started doing small projects. You started doing, you started thinking like a filmmaker compared to a photographer. Tell us about your first few filming projects, Kalyan. Apart from, assisting or working with Sandesh. Back then, I think he was also coining his brand and whatnot. And then you started working. You said you got into filmmaking seriously. Amel, what all did you do? What projects did you get into? Tell us about those initial projects.
So one of the things about filmmaking is that you need to unlearn yourself.
With respect to stills and filmmaking.
Yeah, exactly. Because stills, you're just looking at that, whatever, 1 by 500 the second. That one frame defines everything. Whereas in filmmaking, you could have this amazing frame. Sorry, so you can have this amazing frame, but that's useless. It doesn't fit into if it doesn't fit into a story.
Absolutely.
So in filmmaking, we say this. There are shots. A combination of shots make a sequence, and a combination of sequences make a film.
Right. Right.
And to make a sequence, really, sequence could be usually like a 5-minute story about a particular animal doing something.
Right.
It's that money shot is not the key. It's the boring shots that really make the story.
I see. Interesting. The build-up.
Build up to it, For example, I'm just to give random, like because I work on tigers. Yeah, you got tiger hunting, chasing, whatever. But the real build-up is, for example, a tiger stalking.
Right.
And the way to do that is how tigers are able to disappear and hide in the grass, and deers are not able to see it.
Sure.
So sometimes it's just So you could get the money shots, tiger hunting, whatever. But the money shot might be actually this just a leaf moving, because tigers kind of stalking through it. Really builds up the tension, and without that, the money shot is useless.
Of course.
So with filmmaking, that's something I learned very early is that you need to think of it, you need to unlearn as a photographer.
Right.
It's not a single frame that's going to define it.
Sure.
Yes, composition, all that still matters, technical stuff, but it's how you establish a story,
Right.
make people engaged,
Right.
is what really defines. And we'll talk about it later in a bit, but especially we are in 2026 now, right? People have so much video content, Instagram Reels, YouTube, whatever. Nobody watches a documentary. I can't watch a documentary myself.
I see.
When at the end of the day, I just switch on Netflix and I want to watch something which will entertain me. So that's why even wildlife documentaries these days have to be entertainment first.
I see.
You can't say that okay, this is Gir National Park. There are 800 lions, and this is so many square kilometers.
No more Wikipedia stuff.
Yeah, nobody will care about it, right?
Right.
You start with, oh, this female, she wants this territory and she's gonna fight for it,
Makes
and
sense.
then she's plotting a thing to take over somebody. That's when people get engaged, right?
Of course.
So,
Of course.
I mean, of course, it matters more today than
Ever
any time
before.
else because video is the content now.
Mm.
But filmmaking is that really, right? And the thing is also with still photography,
Mhm.
it's a one-man army, right? You
Right.
you go, you shoot, you go home,
Mhm.
copy the memory, edit in Photoshop, you publish it, you're done.
Right. Right.
Whereas with video, it's typically takes years,
Right.
right? And you shoot, and that there's basically a team of 20-30 people. So there's an editor, there's a sound designer, there's somebody who composes music, there's somebody who edits, put it all together.
Right. Right.
There's a narrator, there is a, so it's much larger in terms of scale. It's 10x more than what a photography can be.
Of course.
That's something I learned. So yeah, so early 2010s started working with BBC. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my longest run has been with BBC.
Of course. Okay.
And frankly, I still, all said and done, I love BBC because it gave me my career, but also they give the freedom
Oh, interesting.
because it's a public broadcaster.
Understood.
Working with Nat Geo, Discovery, all this stuff is that they're private companies. So there's always this TRP ratings they're chasing, right? So
I
they're
see.
like, but BBC, because it's a public broadcaster, it's like Doordarshan in India,
Understood.
they don't have that pressure.
Look at the brand difference. There's a huge brand perception, right? BBC has built. They don't have the performance pressure, you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Doordarshan, right?
Okay.
Doordarshan doesn't have to care about TRP rating and if they don't get advertising, it's government funded.
Right. Right.
So the nice thing BBC does is that it's government funded, right? So we don't have pressure. So we'll tell the story. Even if it doesn't do well, let's just, people have to learn about this animal or this class of animals and things like
Makes
that.
sense. Makes sense.
So it's been great working with BBC, but so also this is just something I should tell people, like none of us work with BBC directly.
Okay.
Okay. So there are there's pre-COVID and post-COVID, but pre-COVID there are basically 4-5 major channels: BBC, Discovery, Nat Geo, PBS, and Disney was not there. back
Okay.
then, yeah.
I see. Okay.
So 4-5 channels,
Right.
and all
Animal Planet?
Animal Planet is owned by it's Discovery subsidiary.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, same
Understood.
thing. Yeah.
Okay.
And basically they would give projects to production companies, and production companies basically hire filmmakers, cameramen,
Sure.
editors, everything.
Right.
And the whole world in wildlife filmmaking revolves around this small town called Bristol in UK.
Right.
Pretty much all production companies start there because BBC Naturalist started there.
Understood.
So pre-COVID, pretty much every project they would hire a Bristol company to execute a project. Like, okay, here's the money, give us a 3-part series or a 1-hour documentary on this.
I see.
And then they would hire freelancers to do various things. So
Right.
that's how it works. So all of us, pretty much everybody in the world, all wildlife filmmakers work with Bristol companies.
I see. So that's the icons of the world.
Icon Films and Silverbacks and
Right.
Wildstar and bunch of.
Why is icon films a lot more common in India than any other? I've not heard too much of other brand in India.
So Icon Films is started by Harry Marshall, and Harry grew up. He was born in India. His father was bishop of church in Brigade Road,
Oh.
MG Road or something. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So he has a deep connection with them, and frankly, I think a lot of our careers, like Sandesh, me, and bunch of us, we owe our careers to Harry Marshall, Icon Films, because of his India connection, he would always do a lot of Indian films and trust Indian filmmakers to
Makes sense.
kind of give them projects to do these projects.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So now this was a
Unfortunately, post-COVID, they just shut down.
time- Icon film shut down now.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Oh, so unfortunate. Interesting. So now we'll talk about that. You briefly mentioned about the industry, scenario. But before that, now let's go back to your 2013, 14, 15 era. You started, contributing a lot more as a cameraman. Had you made your own film by then, or you're still a part of?
No. So one of the early problems back then was that technology hadn't caught up. Okay.
Okay.
So
What do you mean by that?
okay, so basically for filmmaking, you need to shoot with a professional camera. Those cameras were not available in India, and whatever few were available, you had to hire it for 30,000, 40,000 rupees a day.
Right. The Reds of the world.
There was no red back then.
Okay.
You know, even Sony, Panasonic, whatever.
Mm.
And back then it was, I still remember my first project was still on tapes. You know,
Right.
there was no memory card, it was still tapes.
Right.
It was like not even 720p, you know, it was much lower resolution.
I see.
And then 720p came, then HD came, and then 4K came, and now of course we all talk about 8K.
Right.
But what changed probably after 2015 and 2018
Mm-hmm.
was the fact that this equipment became available or affordable
Mm-hmm.
by Indian filmmakers and things like that.
Okay.
So, I mean, frankly, the industry changed back then because now all of us used to depend on UK kit. Every time we had a shoot, equipment used to come from UK,
Understood.
shoot, and we used to go back.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, some of us, like Sandesh, me, bunch of us, started investing in our own equipment
Interesting.
because
It was not sustainable to hire it.
you can't
every day.
shoot with a DSLR, basically,
Of
right?
course.
You know, and people don't realize it's simple reason, and I still don't understand why. Again, no offense to any brand. I don't know why Sony, Nikon's, all this stuff still try to sell these small mirrorless cameras. They don't have built-in ND filters.
Right. Of course.
And ND filters on a zoom lens don't work. You know, there's no ND filters
there's
for.
a rear ND.
Now
drop-in filter.
there's drop-in filters now in the last 1 or 2 years.
Right.
But till then, and the thing is, professionally, your shutter speed has to be like
What?
twice the frame rate, right?
Correct.
And people don't get it. And
in sunlight, it's a hassle to shoot films
yeah, and why are you selling this fancy camera to me as a film camera?
without a
And if
filter.
built-in ND filter.
Makes sense.
So the professional cameras always have built-in ND. You just like turning a knob and it's
How
there.
many stops would usually be there?
All the way,
Oh.
the way. You can go to 64 times. Yeah.
So at 12 o'clock, just for people who don't understand the tech we're talking, at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, if you want a 1/50th of a second shutter speed, you would only be able to control it. And also you want a shallow depth of field. So you would only
Exactly.
be able to control it by cutting down the real light using an ND filter.
ND filter. Yeah.
Understood.
So 2015 onwards, I think these cameras started becoming affordable, where we could shoot with this camera and these big broadcasters would take it. So, and a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people think that, oh, I'll just shoot everything at 120. Now all cameras do 120 frames per second.
Right.
And I'll post-process, speed it up.
Right.
But, you know, broadcasters don't accept that footage.
Understood.
Basically, every frame has to be natively shot.
Right. You
If you speed up a clip by 10% in Premiere Pro, it's generating frames.
Right.
And that frame is not acceptable by broadcasters. It fails quality. There's something called QC check.
I see.
Fails.
I see.
And they won't accept your film.
And also something about the bit rate that is an issue with.
Of course. Yeah. So now it's gone. It's quite high.
Okay.
So yeah. So you know. So there was generational shift where all of us could think, and that's when a lot of us could start even thinking about making our own films.
Understood.
And I think you recently done a podcast with Amog.
Right.
Yeah.
I launched it yesterday.
Yeah. So it was very interesting. So around the same time, you know, Vinay Luthra, who's Chief Wildlife Warden back then, Karnataka, he said, I mean, we met somewhere for a drink or somewhere, and then he made fun of me. He said, you keep shooting for BBC, why don't you shoot something for us? Yeah, like, and that quality, you know. The forest department has this really terrible quality videos, no? Which,
Correct.
Yeah. I said, great, but you know, there's no money and you know, you charge us so much. So he said, no, I'll give you free permissions, all that stuff. So that's where Wild Karnataka started. And that was really first project for me, Amog, all of us.
That was one of my, important sections of this. So now that you're talking, take us through it.
Yeah, so, you know, so when I said, you know, I said, let's do it. And Amog was also just doing a bunch of projects for the department. So I said, let's collaborate together and let's do something.
Right.
And frankly, we didn't think it was such a big deal.
Right.
We just got free access to all Kabini and all that. Frankly, and you know how it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, you could go to any zone and full day.
Stay
and
beyond
all that,
the safari time.
times and all that.
Right.
So it was really about that than actually the film.
Right.
But when we started filming, putting it together, and it evolved into something else, you know, and we push both benchmarks in terms of the quality because there was no 4K back then.
Right.
And also storytelling point of view, you know, we just wanted to be really think.
Right.
And frankly, I mean, thanks to Harry Marshall and all that, you know, we managed to get Dave Rattenberg to narrate it. We did the post-production in UK. And Wild Karnataka really was the first
big project, right?
blue chip, we call it blue chip, you know, blue chip film made completely by Indians for Indians, you know.
Right.
Before that, no, I mean, there were a lot of great cameramen and to be fair, a lot of great films that were made before that, from Bedi Brothers to Shekhar Dattatri and all that stuff. Was my hero. But there was never like of this scale. Like, you know, what we are basically competing with Planet Earth, and we are competing with Game of Thrones, and you know, the top of the line.
Right,
you know.
right.
So Wild Karnataka really was that, and that frankly changed all our lives, both for Amog and me, and
of course, one common denominator from all of you, Harsha, Amog, and all of that is Sharath, right? So he was also involved with Wild
absolutely,
Karnataka.
yeah.
I mean,
Shadu was the co-producer. In fact, Shadu was the one who was like the kind of put it all together, and we did another film more recently called Project Tiger, looking at 50 years of tiger conservation, and Sharath, we've worked together since then.
Right. Oh, you've seen that as well.
Yeah, and in fact, Sharath was the guy who offered me the Jungleologist naturalist role.
Okay.
So we go back a long way.
Of course. Do you know what to do here? Do we go the bottom?
Where does this go?
I don't know. This is taking me up. I'm just thinking we'll go here and turn around because we have reached more than halfway through.
Sure. Yeah.
So, Wild Karnataka. Here you are, a couple of you filmmakers, a lot of other cameramen who went to different parts of Karnataka to give you the bits and pieces of the story. And then it was a consortium of contributors. And this, what was special about Wild Karnataka for me was a story about our own land, narrated by David Attenborough, filmed by friends I knew, and most importantly, released in theaters competing with Bollywood and Hollywood and all of that. So how was that experience for you to see hundreds and hundreds of people going to theaters and watching the film that you made?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first documentary, I forgot Wildlife, first documentary in India that went to PVR. You know?
Interesting.
So that was really amazing. And of course, frankly, I mean, we did play the pride card, right? It was like, Karnataka, you need to know this wildlife, what we have. And frankly, you know, PVR it released in Jan 17th, 2020. And it was running continuously for 3 months. I mean, 3 months you can't even like Durandar have, they all think about only the first weekend, second weekend.
Of course.
The only reason the thing stopped was COVID. You know, it was still running. Yeah, it was quite amazing to see a response like that. And the thing is, people had appetite for it.
Of course.
And this is what I come back to saying, that if you tell the story well, make it entertaining, you learn something, you make it entertaining, people will want to watch.
Absolutely. And also by that time, I think, you know, the Black Panthers aura had, you know, started coming out. There were people who, I think Black Panther has been in Kabini from 2015-14 season, 17-18. People already were mad about it. They were wanting to go, but not like 2020 onwards. Remind me, Wild Karnataka was 2019, is it?
2019, yes.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, I remember just before COVID, Wild Karnataka was completely setting everybody on wildfire. And
the 2019 March we launched it, and 2020 Jan it went to theatre PVR.
Right.
See, also the thing, but Jan, this is the thing about, like, it was never about one animal in that or one story. It's the larger picture.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sneezing. Okay, keep going.
I always, like, as a cameraman, I always tell people, if somebody says, oh, that's a lovely shot, I feel offended.
Okay.
I don't want them to know that it's a lovely shot. I want them to feel it.
Interesting.
I felt Wild Karnataka and I've loved the film. That's what I want to hear. But if they come back and say that, you know, that hornbill shot, that shot frame was somewhere, I'm like, no.
What lens did you use?
Yeah, exactly. I think you made a T-shirt out of it, didn't you?
Yeah. What camera did you use?
And it's like asking your mother, like, thank you for a great dinner, and said which stove did you use or something. Exactly. Yeah. I think you made a T-shirt.
You don't want the focus to be about your camera lens.
Exactly. You just want them to have a great experience, entertain, learn something, and feel good about it.
Absolutely. Anyway, I want to take a quick break because this camera has stopped. But we'll speak now about Wild Tamilnadu after this, and then about AI, about career, about filmmaking in general, and all of that.
Sounds good.
So 2 minutes break. Good. A nice breakfast.
Yeah, that was good. Now I'm going to fall off asleep. Yeah.
No, you still have to talk about 2-3 important things. So the thing is, after Wild Karnataka and its success, I didn't even know when you started conceptualizing Wild Tamilnadu. And now that it's completely done, you're expecting releases in the masses. Take us through Wild Tamilnadu, Kalyan. I don't know where you have... I knew that there was a screening sometime I couldn't attend. Maybe in NIF, is it?
Yeah,
I was not in India, so I didn't watch it. So I need you to please give me a little bit of background.
No, it started just when Wild Karnataka came. You know, and Aarti, who runs this company called Sundaram Fasteners, she had seen Wild Karnataka. And so one of the things that this format that works, frankly, is that it's about Karnataka. And if you're Kannadiga, you're feeling
Passionate about it.
There's a Kannada pride, all that stuff, right?
Right.
So Aarti, she's part of TVS family, and they said, this is 2000. I said 2019, in fact.
I think.
She reached out and said, I knew her from before, but she reached out and said, hey, can you do something like this for Tamil Nadu? Because all the business in Tamil Nadu.
Correct.
And she's interested in wildlife.
Right.
Like, I think Tamil Nadu should be featured like this. I said, we'll think about it. She said, yeah, as part of the CSR, they'll fund it. I said, great. So that's how it started. Although Tamil Nadu actually was longer than Wild Karnataka, because
Wow.
we signed the contract end of 2019, and the film came out in
25.
End of 25. It's also because we basically immediately hit COVID. We lost 2 years because of COVID.
Right.
And to be honest, getting permissions in Tamil Nadu with the forest department wasn't very easy.
Tougher than Karnataka?
Oh, Karnataka was a breeze. Tamil Nadu was, oh my god. No, I mean, right now it's fine. Like, there are good officers in the last 2-3 years who've been great and helpful. But, so basically we lost 2 years because of permissions and COVID lockdowns and things. But yeah, it was a completely different format. We knew that there was not going to be David Attenborough, and expectations are high because it's a follow-up of Wild Karnataka.
Understood.
So we emphasized more on animal behavior and and Tamil Nadu. The other problem was that, see, Karnataka, because of jungle lodges and things, everything is known.
Right.
You go to Kabini for this, you go to Dandeli for hornbills, you go to Agumbe for king cobra, you know whom to contact, there's a naturalist or whatever. Tamil Nadu has nothing.
Right. Apart from Mudumalai.
Mudumalai is the only place where people go for tiger reserve, like equivalent of Bandipur Kabini, and
True.
and a little bit of Nilgiris and Valparai. People go for LTM.
Absolutely.
But these are all Western Ghats.
Right.
What about the rest of Tamil Nadu? No, there are no lodges, no naturalists, no scientists. It was really hard to finding stories.
Understood.
But thank God we finally did something.
What are the places, just for my knowledge?
So, for example, Tamil Nadu, the favorite part of my film is this place called Teriyakadu in South Tamil Nadu.
I see.
It's a red desert. It's like Jaisalmer, Desert National Park, sand dunes.
Really?
With red, bright red in color.
What are you saying? I see.
There is like a huge landscape, sand dunes in Tamil Nadu.
I see. Wow.
And there's something called as Madras hedgehog.
Okay.
It's a species. I mean, hedgehog. It's called Madras hedgehog.
Okay.
It's only hedgehog south of Gujarat, and very rare. Like very few people have seen it.
I see.
So we filmed that and things. So and the storytelling also. The storytelling was much stronger and with the film. So I think it's come out well.
Okay.
I'll obviously praise my own film. So I'll let viewers decide what it should be.
You've been a critic of your own work for a long time, I'm sure. So, all these unique places I still don't know about, you filmed there. And how long is the film? Is it a 50, 55?
It's an hour long, exactly 60 minutes.
Okay.
And also it's an interesting times, I think Sandesh came out with Nilgiris last year. We wanted to come back with the film early, but because Nilgiris had come out, we just didn't want, like, within few months the same kind of landscape coming out.
Right.
Of course, our geography was much bigger.
Okay.
So we delayed it a bit. But yeah, it's interesting that, Indian filmmakers are able to make films about Indian places.
Right.
With Indian funding.
Sure. That's a good sign. Also, somehow there is a couple of pockets of where these filmmakers are. One in Delhi and one in Bangalore. There's still an opportunity across the country. And,
absolutely, yeah.
And talking about that, you were briefly mentioning about the challenges of wildlife filmmaking in India and the kind of work which exists and all of that. Can you give some, insights on that?
So globally, we are going through a crisis in wildlife filmmaking.
Okay.
I think I was saying earlier, most of the work comes from Bristol and all this stuff. So basically what happened was that COVID happened.
Okay.
And then COVID was also the time when streaming started.
OTTs.
OTT streaming platforms.
Right.
Netflix was already there, Amazon Prime was there, but then Disney wasn't there.
I see.
So all this Nat Geo, everything became Disney. There's Netflix, there's Amazon, Apple TV. And during COVID, because everybody's sitting at home and watching content, and these people just started, they didn't have any content.
Sure.
So there was a major rush.
Right.
Like a .com boom.
Understood.
Everybody wanted wildlife content, and there's people who are basically camera assistants were like, okay, no, just go shoot something, whatever money we'll pay. And by 2022, none of these streaming platforms were making money.
I see. Okay.
And they have to cut costs. So the first thing that gets cut costs is documentaries.
Understood.
So Bristol, so in the wildlife filmmaking industry, which is mostly freelancers, very few people work as employees.
Right.
92% are unemployed.
When you say unemployed, you mean They don't have work, not just a payroll association. Right?
I mean, they haven't had, like 92% haven't had work in the last 1 year.
Wow.
So they are driving Uber Eats and all that stuff
What are you
to
saying?
generate. These are producers, directors of Planet Earth
Oh my goodness.
are driving Uber Eats to pay their bills.
Okay.
So it's really that bad. And like even me, I mean, I've had like one shoot a year versus 20 COVID time where I was like 12 months a year I was on a shoot.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah. So is there something to do with Brexit? Because it's a,
It's not a British thing. It's a combination of OTT platforms taking over.
Okay.
And actually we should talk about it. It started with the writer's strike in the US, and basically it's not just documentaries, but even Hollywood films are going through this identity crisis, like,
I see.
But it's also my biggest grouse with our industry and social media. The elephant in the room. Can I use the F word?
Yeah, of course, man.
Fucking algorithms. It's not people deciding anything, it's algorithms that are deciding things. Right?
Okay, yeah.
Same thing with Instagram.
I see.
You haven't asked me, we said we'll talk about it, but I'll mention it.
Right.
People confuse that if you have. So I know, I don't want to take names. I know people, photographers, artists / artists, who have a lot of followers on Instagram,
right,
or a few less, maybe less and more.
Right.
But their identity revolves around Instagram.
Of course.
On the platform.
Instagram influencer.
Maybe not influencer also, but their identity is Instagram. They're very good at making those reels, whatever.
Correct.
And the thing is, tomorrow if Instagram shuts down for whatever reason,
like TikTok happened,
then nobody will know that.
I agree.
For us, people like us, it is from LiveJournal to Instagram to Flickr, whatever, irrespective of that, even tomorrow internet shuts down India. Sure. People know that there's Jayant Sharma who's a photographer, there's Kalyan Varma, whatever. True. But there are people whose identity revolves around a platform.
I agree.
And the platform has algorithms that decide what should be featured.
Successful or not.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I might have the greatest picture on earth. It'll never show to anybody because I'm not algorithm friendly.
True.
It's
true.
I'm like, for fuck's sake, now I have to think vertically, like you were thinking earlier, right?
Right.
And Instagram decides.
Right.
So I used to happily post Instagram, the middle button, square format. Okay, fine, I don't mind square format. I'll put it. And then they said, no, we're not going to show you this. We have to make reels. It has to be a video, and you have to dance and all that. And
trending music.
Trending music, and you have to lift your camera slow motion. So for God's sake, I'm not doing that. And then I think it was early this year. They said, no more reels. It's all carousels. So you just 10.
True.
Why are they deciding what as artists should doing? They are deciding what artists should be doing, the platform. Whereas our role as artists should be doing what we.
True. Absolutely.
So this is the real problem I have.
Right.
So anyway, the same thing's happening with streaming platforms.
Okay.
So what Disney did last year, they do it every 6 months, every quarter, I think. In fact, they look at the top 50 films in every category.
Okay.
So true crime, drama, comedy.
I see.
Fiction. Fantasy film.
Right.
Animation, documentary. They look at the top 50.
Right.
And they remove everything under 50.
I see.
Because it costs them to host that film. Because nobody's going to watch it.
My goodness. Okay.
And
so that's why if you search for something old, you may not get it.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
And they don't have to pay license fees. And like I feel so bad for certain colleagues of mine. I don't want to name it. It was a beautiful series on Americas. It was $25 million budget.
I see.
They've had the fighter jet which was used in Top Gun, to do amazing time lapse, all that.
Okay.
And basically it aired on Disney, whatever, and within 2 months they deleted it.
I see.
And this is not removing, it's not unlisting from the platform. They literally control all Dell.
Right.
Because they can say that this is a loss and they can get tax benefit on that loss.
Understood.
So somebody spent 5 years of their life making this film, not one person, probably 50 people spent 5 years.
Okay.
And Disney just decided, the algorithm says it's not doing well, so I'll just delete it.
Awesome. Interesting. So now what's the future of people who are filmmakers, producers, sound engineers, cinematographers, even a focus puller, for example? What's going to happen to all these careers?
So I think it's drifting on two ways. So one thing I like about today's world is the fact that anybody can be a filmmaker.
Okay.
YouTube is the largest watch. Like YouTube gets more views than Netflix. Even I myself spend more time on YouTube than Netflix.
I see.
You know?
Okay.
And YouTube, anybody creator, like this video is going to be on YouTube, right? Like,
of course.
And of course you're using some 3-4 cameras, but I can just use my phone, record something, put it on YouTube.
Of course.
And if you have good content, you have good content. People do it. So it's democratized that.
Okay.
You don't need, because Netflix, if for your film to be on Netflix, it has to be a camera which is minimum 20 lakhs worth. They have Netflix approved cameras and all that, whatever.
Understood.
But the other end is, I think, in an age of AI, and this is something we should talk about.
Yeah, please.
Right?
Let's use this one of the topics we had to.
I love AI. I love those cat videos. Cat is doing kung fu and this tiger is coming dancing and all that. It's great. It's great fun. But people ask me, we're already there, but I think 6 months from now, I think you can just type one page saying that I want to make a film called Wild Tamilnadu or Wild Karnataka. I want this species doing this narration, this voice. I'm sure it'll whip it out in a day. I'm sure.
Wow.
So where are we as filmmakers?
Interesting question. Right.
So,
but somebody gave me a perspective saying now that it's so easy to create it on AI, real filmmakers will have the best value now, is a perspective. What do you think of that?
So I was trying to get down that, and I think you need to build that value.
I see.
So
average is no more the norm, right? You have to be exceptional.
Yeah. You have to be exceptional, and you can create, and I think, and that's why you have to be very clear that you're not using AI. If people know that you used one frame which is AI,
right,
people will lose trust in you.
Of course.
And I take inspiration from great filmmakers,
right,
like Christopher Nolan. I mean, if you look at some of the greatest, Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan,
right.
All these guys, they still shoot in film. Do you know why?
Film.
They still, I mean, IMAX, whatever. They still do the
rolls,
like physical
reels,
the thing which you have to still process in a chemical.
There's no question of any AI-ness there. That's why
they are trying to tell the world that we are not an Avengers movie where it's all CGI. It's all what you're seeing is real. It's a cinematic experience, and it's all about storytelling.
Interesting.
And I really think that wildlife filmmakers, we have to establish that as well.
Okay.
We probably have to, and I'm terrible at it, is do more behind the scenes.
Okay.
Saying that, we actually spent, I don't know, 2 months in this place to get that 30-second clip.
The failures, the struggles.
Yeah, the struggles, failures, exactly. And once people know that, I think people will appreciate.
Absolutely. They value the effort also,
yeah,
not just the result. That's a great insight. So what's coming up now? I know that you don't want to speak about specifics about your next filming. You're doing another film in a different region. We'll not talk about it in detail. But apart from that, what's going on in Kalyan's life?
Interesting. So I'm a bit groggy because I slept very late last night because I was coding away, and I wasn't coding. It's what they call it, vibe coding.
Yeah. The Claude coder.
Coder, yeah. So last 3 days it's been great because I've just been dictating and wrote this app which goes through all my footage, which upload. It takes like so AI apps still can't do video.
Right.
So I've done like a program which takes a screenshot every few seconds, puts it together, uploads it to cloud, AI processes it, comes back, it describes it, and I put it in a database, and I've created this front end which I can search every clip I've shot so far.
Awesome.
And it's great. I can just type saying that, okay, so now you know all the clips that you have, can you come up with a story idea? And it comes with brilliant ideas.
Wow.
So AI is great that way, and I think it's really going to change the world. I mean, like the way internet changed the world, mobile phones changed the world. I think AI is going to change the world. But you need to be used responsibly, and especially in my industry, I really feel that we should never get tempted and use a single frame that's AI, because people are coming to watch this film knowing that every frame is real.
Understood.
Every second that they're seeing is real.
Understood. So the tech part of Kalyan is still active, and you're still upgrading yourself, updating yourself.
I'm having just a lot of fun.
Super, great. So anyway, Kalyan, one of the things that we were talking while we were having breakfast was about social media per se. I keep telling people that a lot of social media glory doesn't reflect the industry worthiness of an individual.
Right.
At the same time, somebody who's an exceptional industry leader may not really care about the likes and the shares and all of that. I remember you were a very early adopter of social media. somewhere I have a feeling that you do not really care about it as much as used to in 2010 or 12 or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
what do you have to say to people who look at social media follower numbers, shares, likes, and all of that to determine whether the person is really good or not?
So I think at the end of the day, it's your work that needs to define. And like we said earlier, algorithms decide that. But I think at the end of the day, it's work, right? So like, I think we were discussing our breakfast. Like Dirtman Mukherjee, whom I consider like the best wildlife photographer in the country.
Right.
He probably doesn't have like
20-30K followers on Instagram.
which is nothing as much as some 16-year-old who's just gone with Earth.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So, but his work defines him. And I'm not. I don't post on social media either.
Right.
It's also because my work doesn't depend on any of social media platforms.
True. Unlike mine.
So my filming projects which I do, all the work comes from my previous films I've done or network that I have.
Of
right,
course.
BBC or Nat Geo or whatever, right?
Of course.
Nothing ever comes because somebody's seen an Instagram post of mine or whatever.
I see.
But I do understand that for, like you said, in your industry, what you do, where you're selling bunch of services,
Right.
Revolved around wildlife and photography,
Right.
You need maybe not the numbers, but active social media thing to kind of thing.
Market
right?
yourself.
Market yourself.
Right. I'm a B2C, you are more of a B2B with respect to filming, right?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. If I use corporate term, that's the thing.
Right.
So because I don't do B2C, I really don't care about it.
Right.
And I use Instagram every day, but I consume other people's content.
Understood.
But I definitely very arrogant in the way think that I don't want the algorithm, the company to decide what I should be posting.
Of course.
If I like a boring photo, I'll still make a post. I never posted reels. I'm not going to post carousels.
Right. Right.
It's okay. I went on a nice trip. I said, "God, this is a nice picture." I'll still post. If it, and
you'll not conform to the algorithm's dictation, right?
And I do get it. The Instagram is never going to show it to people. Probably,
Right.
Even the people who follow me won't get to see it.
Of course.
Because that's how the algorithms work these days.
Of course.
But well, who cares? Like I said, I don't depend on this platform, but I
Right.
do understand that certain people have to depend on this platform.
Right. One of the reasons why I'm doing this MasterChat series is, because I want to show people that I got inspired from are my contemporaries, people who are not really focused on building their 2 million followers on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, but they are an industry name, they have their own repute, they are doing exceptional work, and that's my intention of the MasterChat cohort of this podcast. So what's your advice to wildlife photo enthusiasts who picked up a camera, went to a workshop, started traveling, and would like to, get into wildlife photography seriously? Any advice for these kind of folks? This is my last section of the podcast.
So I would like to take an analogy, about a decade or 15 years ago. So about 15 years ago, we had this conversation at BBC.
Right.
Like every species on Earth has been filmed.
Right.
There's no new location that's not been filmed.
Right.
Every species has been filmed. Not just species, every behavior of every species has been filmed.
Of course.
So is the industry dead? Can we No, 15 years on, we're still making documentaries.
Of course.
Doing things, right? And the thing is, it's how we evolve, and it's the same species. How do you tell stories differently? Right. Sometimes technology evolved, right? Like in the last decade, for example, drones. We are able to showcase things on drone, higher resolutions, 4K to 8K.
Right.
But it's also storytelling. We are
course.
telling stories in a different way where people enjoy it and
Of
like
course.
all
The
this.
point of view has changed.
Yeah.
Perspective has changed.
So I mean that's what I'm saying with filmmaking, but as an artist, I think if you're a photographer or a filmmaker, I think the same thing applies. Sometimes it feels like the industry is saturated, right? Like if I go and photograph a tiger in Tadoba, there's so many photos of tigers are like
The same tiger.
Same tiger, right? Riddhi Siddhi or whatever. But you know what? I don't want people to give up. I think you can add a unique perspective.
Right.
And I think you need to don't get influenced by the platforms and what they're asking you to do.
Right.
But stand out on your own as an individual artist. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be on Instagram or. I really don't know what other platforms are there. I mean, we don't have TikTok in India. Instagram really is the thing of the world.
Sure.
Facebook, Twitter, whatever stuff.
Right. So what you're saying is people should stick to what they want to do and not get snubbed by the platforms and the algorithms and all of that. Even otherwise, I think there is a lot of difference in the way Instagrammers or let's say social media influencers are versus the real industry people, because they are doing the actual work and not. I mean, being on Instagram is not the actual work, right? It's just a medium of showing what you do.
Absolutely.
That shouldn't be the actual work, in my opinion.
Something beep.
No,
Sorry.
that's okay. This one. That's having a problem, I think. That's okay. We are still rolling. So that's interesting with respect to social media per se. You will use social media to consume, but you're not dependent on it.
Ah,
is what
no,
you're saying.
no.
Right.
I would love to contribute more, but I just don't like Instagram deciding how my content format should be.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
What about your advice to photo enthusiasts, Kalyan? Is there something you'd like to tell people who are just picking up a camera? What do you think they should be doing?
So I really think at the end of the day, storytelling is the key.
Okay.
You know, I think that when we started, we still had that thing, right? Let's go to Northeast, get that rare bird.
I remember your Namdapha trip, 2006,
Yeah.
7 sometime.
Or, you know, whatever. Oh, that's rare bird or rare landscape. We had that thing.
Right.
And that doesn't matter at all. And I think it comes down to storytelling. How you're able to take a photograph, a meaningful story,
Right.
even write about it, or a combination of pictures.
Right.
And the thing is, don't go. And I think in photography, I always say, right, the exotic is easy, the common is hard.
Of course.
You know, so it's not the rare species, but just photograph these crows. You know, make a nice photo story out of these crows, and people will like it.
Right.
You know, one of my favorite stories from this month is that what's that monkey? Plush. Japanese macaque that went viral with that toy and all that.
Right.
And that was great, right? The whole world was weeping for this one macaque, and it's just because the zookeeper or whatever took the pictures and was able to tell the story.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like we see a lot of macaques around, which are whatever, right?
Sure.
Or that penguin. I think there was another penguin story that went viral, which went in the wrong way or something like that.
Okay.
So I really think that, you know, we should be reaching out to that kind of thing, right? Storytelling first, same species, but storytelling first, and that's what I think young people are coming into the industry should aim for.
Sure.
Irrespective of the platform.
Of course. That's a great insight. And also, what about conservation orientation of all these young folks? Do you think we have enough and more knowledge about the issues, or do you think there's still so much more to learn and orient wildlife enthusiasts, photographers to real issues, and think about bringing out stories related to those issues?
That's a tough one, Jayant. I've reached a stage in my life where I become like MD Madhusudan. I can't take a stand on anything anymore.
Interestingly, he's a relative of my wife.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, people who don't know MD Madhusudan, look him up. He's a great scientist and conservationist.
I spoke to him 1 week ago, and he said, now that I'm out of this active conservation thing, I don't know what to say. I wanted to call him for a podcast.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay.
Yeah, so I really feel like conservation is getting harder and harder and harder. Because there are two sides to everything.
Right.
You know, and it's not black and white anymore. At least maybe it's black and white for some people, but maybe not for me.
Understood.
You know, recently, last year, you were in Ranthambore as well, Arrowhead issue. You know, which Arrowhead's daughter had killed 3 people.
Right.
And I mean, I've seen Arrowhead since she was a child, you know, and I've filmed her. I'm very fond of her.
Right.
Probably my favorite tigress in the world.
Right.
But if her child has killed
3 people,
consequences are different, right?
Of course.
So which side are you on? And I mean, at least at that point, I was clear that the tigers had to be removed. But other people felt otherwise, who love tigers so much, which are very nice wildlife people. But
of course.
You know, so it's getting harder and harder. I really think that yes, people should talk about conservation and environment issues, but I think be more nuanced about it. It's just not black and white anymore. It's not save a tiger or save Arrowhead or save.
You just can't take one side and not even care about the person who died, his family, his whatever. Similar to what happened with Ustad about 10, 12 years ago.
Absolutely, exactly, yeah. And it's not just human-wildlife conflict, right? Like, for example, what's happening in Nicobar. I'm completely against the project. It's a horrible, it's going to destroy fragile ecosystem.
Okay.
But you know what? I also know geopolitical issues. I understand the power China has on Indian Ocean. And I do understand India's need to have a strong military presence in Indian Ocean.
Understood.
Right? It's destroying a beautiful habitat and rare species. But I know where the government's coming from. I also understand where the ecologists are coming from. And I'm, you know.
You have to balance. You know that they say you road to disaster paved with good intentions. While you want to protect something small, let's say there is a geopolitical issue and you'll destroy a lot more than something that you're missing out right now. That's Interesting. Super Kalyan, I think, what always inspires me about your, you as a personality is, you've always been somebody who has strong opinions about things that you care for, things that you don't care for, about.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
No, it is because what's the point of being diplomatic everywhere and not having a opinion on everything and being okay with everything? It's always a personality. You can't change that. Not that somebody may find it good or bad, but it's who you are, and that's what makes you special. And look at this quarry that every year it keeps going down, and at some stage it will be a flat land. So super. It's been a great pleasure talking to you, and thank you for making this morning. I know that you sleep very late, and I'm sure you must have had.
No, that's fine. I'm a photographer. Yeah, when I'm on safari, I'm up at 4:30.
I mean, what I meant is at home.
I know. Yeah, no. If I can avoid it, I avoid it. But
of course, it's been a pleasure, and I wanted to get this perspective of yours for a long time. All my cameras.
I think
are
all
buzzing.
your cameras are shutting down one by one.
That means, especially this one. This is noisy.
So one of the things, guys, you don't know is that cameras can't deal with heat, and it's a problem. I'm right now working in Rajasthan, and all cameras are shutting down because just can't handle the Rajasthan heat.
Even the full, of course. In the summer, even a still, forget the film, okay? Even a still camera is switching off.
Yeah.
iPhone is switching off. It's being
so
hot.
the thing is, I use these A7 S3s as camera traps. It works as a still, but if at the minute it has to shoot a 30-second video, it's shutting on the heat.
I don't know what's the solution to that. But anyway, great.
Hey, great, Jay. It was
pleasure.
Lovely. Yeah, it's been 20 years, and it's been great to catch up.
In fact, I want to tell you one funny story. About 16, 17.
God, you have good memory of this funny stories.
It's really funny. 16, 17 years ago, I went to watch a movie with a friend of mine. Her name was Gayatri. I don't know if she'll watch this. And she was talking to me about wildlife filmmaking and all of that. And you know what she asked me? Get me an intro to Kalyan. Maybe I'll tell her I met you now. That's my perspective of Kalyan Varma. And thank you so much for sharing all your insights and being here on
It's been great, Jen. It's really nice catching up. Yeah.
Thanks, Guru. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for the lovely breakfast as well. Yeah.
Lovely. So I'm going to call it. So guys, stay tuned for the next one. I think what stands out to me the most in this is there's no straight path in this journey. There's curiosity, there's confusion, there are moments of doubt, and then there's the decision to keep going. What I really appreciate is not just the work, but the evolution from corporate to naturalist, from photography to filmmaking, and doing it without losing the connection to nature. For anyone watching this, if there's one takeaway in this, it's don't rush the outcome. Build the foundation. So Kalyan, thank you for sharing your journey so honestly. It's been a pleasure as always. And to everyone watching, if this conversation made you think even a little bit about your own journey, then we have done our job. See you in the next MasterChat.